that we need to see this out more to show people how the service is safe, but we need to break it down. And I agree with Alex that there are different advocate groups, but there are some groups are very sensitive, and there's a time effort, we gotta break it down to them.
Great.
And I also tested on a different app with the buses,
Mhm.
because you can at least, I can track the bus, even say if the bus was saying next bus please, and it was
Uh-huh.
kind of weird, and I said, I don't care, at least the bus is coming.
There you go.
Right.
Cool.
And Chris, to your point a little bit,
Mhm.
we'll be sending a detailed email out with instructions on my AR. I'll probably be the one to send it out, maybe Accessoride will. We'll send it through different channels.
Yeah.
With some information and best practices. That's, you know, it's a digital way that will help people get information. If there's a need for in-person tutorials or people want to come in, we're more than happy to work with Donna and her team to set those up. I mean, like any kind of technological solution, there's a learning curve. But this is like, there have been transit systems around the world who have instituted apps or other kinds of technologies and literally got rid of their call centers. I'm not suggesting we're doing that, it's not what we're trying to achieve. But at the same time, if it makes it that much more friendly and that much more easy that you don't need that level of help, we're all about it. I mean, if we can move some of our call volume to the app, it's a win for everybody.
Yep.
It's an option.
As an option.
The
As an
phrase
option.
I heard from when I
Call
first
center's not going
started
anywhere.
doing outreach to our customers, there's a phrase that I still think of all the time. One of our customers, who was a Subway customer, he said, you know what I need? I need tools to manage my commute. That's what I need. Give me tools. Give me stuff I can use. He likes countdown clocks, things like that. The MyMTA app and the new website are tools that we can use, whether we're paratransit customers, Subway customers, bus or rail, to manage our commute. And that gives you, to your point, a sense of confidence, a sense of freedom, really. And like John in the video, more options. Yes?
So the first thing you said was being able to talk to a.
Real human being.
So how does that happen when you call 511 and we get a plethora of calls
Great question.
because 212-878-7000 gets due to the MTA headquarters, and because they don't listen or they don't know what to do, PCAC gets the calls. I can't tell you, we get a variety of, the other day I got somebody, I'm calling for somebody in their retirement benefits. I'm like, you gotta call the BSC. So,
What a good impersonation that was.
so the bottom line is, you call 511 and when I tell somebody to listen to the prompts, they still don't get it because there's so many, and I've talked to Greg Bullock about this, but tell me how we talk to people.
There you go. I think your points are excellent and well met. As my father used to say, Rome wasn't burned in a day. It took several days.
Built in a day.
He was burned.
Oh, that's good.
We're working on it. There's stuff that Alex's boss, Andy, and Ronnie Hakam have done in the system, putting in wayfinders who are well-informed, smart, helpful. I believe they're working with the call centers too. I know that the AAR call center has been really a part of this whole process. It's a process, but you're right. That's the other piece of it. And I'm glad I'm not here talking to you about that today. We're talking about the app.
But I can add to that a
wanna
little
talk
bit. I
about
mean,
the app.
specifically as my team is concerned, like, I am very aware and sensitive to the notion that, like, you really can't send an email to the MTA. Or, I mean, you can go on the web form and put in a response and get kind of like a canned response. I've been through it myself for complaints about buses. So, my team, in general, we are going to be creating a separate web form that's just for accessibility type complaints. I mean, we think accessibility and ADA type is its own. Very similar to following how New York City DOT does it. You know, they have their own page where, and that will get directly to our team as opposed to being routed through many different things. Obviously, from a general customer service perspective, as John said, there are things we're working on and other things. But for your accessibility needs, we want to be a centralized channel. We want to be direct. First of all, for all of you in this room, you know how to reach me. You all reach me very regularly, and that's fine. But
I mean, the one thing about going through the web and putting in just a general complaint about a bus, you get at least a number back. The problem is that there's no follow-up. There's no.
What I'm saying is for accessibility.
But when you call 511, you don't get a number to say, you don't get a confirmation number 73215 to be able to go back and say, hey, I called 3 weeks ago and
Right.
nothing's, I haven't heard a word.
Yeah, like I'm saying, generally, that's a little bit more in John's alley, and I'll punt to him. I'm saying for accessibility, we will, for accessibility.
No, I got that, that's
you know,
great.
We'll be
But
doing.
Definitely a work in progress, and we've lit the matches, so.
Yeah.
John, when do you anticipate the next updates to the trip planner?
The next updates to the trip planner. Scott, when do we anticipate? We're actually working on some issues right now.
Right. In November, when we do a release, it's primarily my AR, a little bit about other accessibility needs, like the
Elevators.
system-wide view of the
Wait,
elevators.
this is November, when are you doing?
No, it's
Within
coming
next
up
week or
soon,
two.
and then
Could you
the,
make sure that you send us or to send?
Yeah, I will send out an email on my AAR and separately about the accessibility updates to the MyMT app with regard to elevators.
but when it comes to the trip planner, that's stuff that we mostly do on the back end, right? So that's not an app update or anything else. So
Do you-
that actually happens pretty
Do you
quickly.
have the algorithm in the planner yet where you can divert somebody on a trip from a local to an express or vice versa?
We are working on
We
it.
are working.
We hear you, but it's not an easy one. That's a tough one,
That's very
I
and it's
know
one
it's-
you don't want to get
That's how New
wrong.
Yorkers travel.
Right now, we're looking at the data because sometimes even though it seems faster, sometimes it's not. So we're actually looking at the data to make when it makes sense, right? So 14th Street is a great example because you walk right across the platform, pick up the express, you go uptown.
Yeah.
That's an easy one, right? But to get it right, the algorithm is complex, and to do that, then it might not work at 125th Street or at other places, but it goes system wide.
So our
Right.
approach to this is if we identify a solution, we test the heck out of it to make sure it's right. Because a lot about this process is also gaining trust, right? So we put out something, it's got to be accurate. That's the beginning. Accurate, and then we want it to be really helpful. And then innovative. That's innovative. We're not to innovative yet, but again, this is a process.
Maybe on the page you should put, hold on, we're testing the heck out of this.
Well, we are.
They automatically
How are
update
you-
now.
How are you going to, I mean, this was the same as the SBS and other things that we do, and bus time, for instance, that we really do well, but the riding public, the general riding public still doesn't know about it.
Well, that's a good
And
point.
I guarantee you that right now, if you just did your random sampling again of 100 people on subways, buses, 90 of them, maybe even 95, wouldn't know what you're talking about.
You're right. You're absolutely right. So,
I'm going to give you a suggestion.
Sure.
Have you thought about doing, just as we've done way in the past, long before we had computers or apps or anything else, and just getting some PSAs online, actually on, you should pardon me, on television, on cable, you know, those old-fashioned things.
I've heard about them.
And getting PSAs that the riding public, and maybe even putting up some car cards
Car
on the
cards,
subways and the buses.
Well, they make announcements on the buses about bus time.
And now about
It's all wonderful things.
So those are great ideas. The answer to it is that we've done a lot of that. We've already done one, what we call a domination campaign for MyMTA, and I think that's what we attribute the rapid growth to, again, with over 800,000 downloads and 4.5 million users. So we did dominations where all
On
of
the car cards.
Yep, the entire side of cards were car cards and premium squares. We're also going to do an update. So now that we're putting out My AAR, we've added bus time, things like that. We're doing another campaign. We're going back in system and on the sides of buses and telling people again, our announcers announce it. You know, it's a slow thing, but it's interesting. I've seen it seems like even now that the first campaign, My MTA campaign and system is down, there's still the same rate, or there's still a really solid rate of acceleration. So I think there's good word of mouth so far. I think when we go out with the next My AAR, My MTA campaign and system, we're going to really boot up to the next level.
What I'm saying is other media besides doing it in car cards and on the sides of buses.
John's a media guy, he gets it.
I get it.
He gets it.
I get it, but I also just want to, let me check my wallet. Oh, I don't have a wallet, because I work at the MTA. So mostly we've been trying to use the assets that we can use for free to promote it.
PSAs.
Well, PSAs are hard to get time for. I come from NBC Universal before here. They don't just give away the time. Or if they do, it's for very special
Well,
causes.
you and I will have to talk because.
If you get me a PSA, then I'm your biggest fan forever and
We'll
ever.
sit down and talk how when I worked for the MTA, I got PSAs for a lot of things.
John,
You
can
and I
I,
will
all
talk
ears.
some other time.
Open to help, open to help.
John, can I say
Yes,
something? I actually
absolutely.
have to run to a meeting, but I did want to say one final quick thought. I know this is generally about Accessorize, so I'm going to jump back to Accessorize for a second. I know, we're talking about the MyAAR app. I just wanted to share my vision and hope for Accessorize. I know everybody talks about e-hail all day, every day, right? It's all e-hail. The truth is, there's so much work being done to our dedicated service. Our metrics show it, the improvements over the last few years. On-time performance, the app giving people better flexibility. The next level of evolution for dedicated service, and it's really exciting, is a new AVLM and scheduling system, which, it may be a little bit of inside baseball, but I'm sure you guys may appreciate it. Our trips traditionally in Accessorize have always been run based on how they're done before, right? So if a driver is picking up in Astoria and his next pickup is in, East New York, that's the route, right? He's got to do it. There's not a lot of interchangeability.
Yeah.
With the new scheduling platform that's able to optimize in real time, you can take a vehicle that's closer, change it route, change that route. Now, from our end, that is revolutionary in giving us the kind of flexibility to get around traffic, but it's also, it's part of the app. Why? Your pickup time may change by 2 or 3 minutes. In the app, we can notify you, sure, we'll have to work through that, but the customer's working with us to create greater flexibility, and us being able to do that is going to bring a new level of service where your vehicle doesn't have to look like it's 670 blocks away when there is one that's 5 blocks away. This is still a year out, but it's something that the app will support. It's something that will make dedicated service, it's going to take us some time to get away from the reputation of dedicated service as being this bad, clunky, old thing, but there's a lot of work in progress.
So that sounds like it will take the request for service and the geographical location of the vehicle into account.
And real-time traffic
And
conditions.
real time, yeah.
Exactly.
That's fabulous.
Is it all tied in with the Ubers and the mapping systems that they use? I always wonder if that was valuable.
It's similar technology. A lot of these companies have proprietary software. As went to the board, the Stratagen contract that was approved, Stratagen does this, has been doing it really well.
They're the
So,
ones doing the one now, is
the board action was about a month or 2 ago. It'll take them a year to build it out. They're literally in our place, studying all our trips, studying patterns, building it out. It's going to be phased in, launch certain things in 6 months, certain things in a year. And literally it's going to transform the way that we do trips. Because even right now, if a trip needs to get diverted, it's a dispatcher looking at a map, picking up a phone, telling the guy to change a trip on his thing. You know what I mean? We're computer aided, it'll be able to do it in real time. So, will we ever get as good as Uber? I'd like to think so, but we are thinking very similarly.
Yeah.
At least you won't have the for-hire vehicle fee on it.
Yes.
Just a
Well, you
quick
never
one.
know, it may come.
The other apps that, the ones that my MTA is gonna be replacing, how long till you phase those out completely?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Thank
That's
you
something
so
that we're
much.
talking
Thank you
about
all.
actively. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks,
Thanks, Alex. It's an interesting question. It sort of depends on our customers. What we want to do is, before we phase them out, make sure we have parity and a little bit more so that nobody's left in the lurch. So the first one that we think is eligible for phasing out is probably subway time.
No, sorry.
Huh?
I'd like.
Subway time? Well, I know you do. But we have to migrate everybody to one system. But we're not going to do it until we're absolutely sure,
Oh, I
based
love
on
Subway time.
customer impact.
Me too.
What? It's not happening tomorrow, so relax. My MTA will have all the functionality of any app that we retire. But it's important that we do have a roadmap for retiring, because it's partly about manpower, and it's partly about money. We need to save the money, maintain dozens of different apps, and there are literally dozens. I heard yesterday there's one called Tunnel Time that only 20 people use, and it tells you how crowded the tunnels are. So we have to get rid of these legacy things.
Yep, it's really there.
Put them all of our resources into one play to serve all of our customers so people know where to go. But it's a process. Guys, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Andrew.
Thank you so much, John.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Really appreciate it.
Here's hoping.
Go ahead.
No, we go out faster once you get
It's still
outside.
in
I find sometimes I turn off the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
I use my office.
Subway's time.
Just done?
I wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we hope to see you at the full PCAC on December 6th.
Nice place.
Thank you.
Oh, and maybe your meeting.
No, I can't. That's gonna be, talking about the special finance committee? Don't know.
Nothing's gonna happen next week is Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Where's our meeting?
Yeah, I really enjoy Thanksgiving.